All right, here we go. Welcome all of you once again to another reading session of the book called Make Today Count. Now, I want to make one thing very clear is that I am not promoting a particular book or a particular writer. I am just trying to encourage myself and those who are listening to inculcate or to develop a habit of reading. That's all I want. So that's the reason I'm asking you to get this book, just for reading and nothing else. John C. Maxwell is not paying me. There's no company sponsorship or publication sponsorship that I want. I just want to help myself and a lot of others who are listening to develop a habit of reading. The reason that I'm doing this is specifically is because quite often we get caught up with different other things that become habits if we do not try to inculcate or develop productive habits like reading, writing, or just the basic things that are good for us. Like meeting friends, building relationships. So I decided that if I need to change the world, I need to change myself, as Edward D. Bono said in his world, changing the world. I truly believe that, and I think that's the reason I started this exercise. I hope you understand. And yesterday, the session or the recording, it went almost till 27 minutes. Let's hope that we finish way before those 27 or 26 minutes that I did yesterday. I made a choice, I made a decision to make sure that I have gratitude towards God, towards my family, and I made that decision yesterday. And when I decided to be gratitude and when I decided to have a heart of gratitude, it really helped me a lot. It really shifted something in my mind, in my heart, and encourage you to also look at these questions, reflective questions in the end. Play the audio once again, or look at your book if you have it. Look at those questions again. It helps you not to argue, not to take things in the wrong way, but to actually be gratitude that you have someone in your life, or you have food to eat, roof on your head, health, and you can name a number of things that you and me can be thankful about. So I think gratitude is something that I decided yesterday. I've continued it, and as promised, I answered those questions. Now, the second chapter today that we'll be looking at is called priorities. Very important, very important. Like I said, right at the beginning of this reading is what we start with first and what we end with last is what we are going to become. I think that's a very important thing I want to share with you, and I think that sets a tone for today's reading that's on the subject called priorities. Now let me read this chapter for you. When I first graduated from college and began my career, I was not working according to my own agenda. Back in the 1960s, when I studied for the ministry, the majority of my coursework had prepared me to do counseling and administration. So, when I began working in 1969, guess what I spent most of my time doing? That's right, counseling and administration. Nothing could have been further from my natural gifts or my natural inclinations. Despite much hard work, I was neither fulfilled nor effective. Because I wanted to improve myself and pick up skills I didn't learn in college, in 1971, I began working on a business degree. While reading for one of the courses, I came across a paragraph written about Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto. It contained information about prioritizing called the Pareto principle. It said by focusing your attention on the top 20% of all your priorities, you would get an 80% return on your effort. That was my eureka moment. That's when I made this decision. I will prioritize my life and give focus and energy to those things that give the highest return. I never looked at myself or my work in the same way again. I realized that I needed to focus 80% of my time, energy, and resources on my areas of strength, not on counseling and administration. Those activities were not bad things. They were just bad things for me. From the moment I made that decision, I have been a practitioner of the Pareto principle, and I have taught it to others for 33 years. If you want to read a more in-depth treatment of the Pareto principle, read my book, Developing the Leader Within You. Most of the time, this has kept me focused and on track. Although when I first began applying the principle, the results sometimes were not what I had intended. Margaret and I still laugh about the time she asked me to start helping her mow the lawn. Margaret, I say, having just learned Pareto, I don't want to waste time on something like that. I am trying to stay focused. We can pay somebody to do that. Margaret looked at me and replied, "Pay with what?" We worked it out, but it was a defining moment for us. From that time on, I have tried to focus on those things that are important and not get sidetracked. That's good. I do not have an in-depth understanding of the Pareto principle. I think those who are interested can find out more, and probably when you continue reading, you can share your thoughts, and your ideas on that. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay, continuing from where we left off now. Let's look at the first section of this chapter called Making the Decision to Determine and Act on Important Priorities Daily. If you want to change the way you look at yourself and what you do by making a decision concerning your priorities, then do the following. Number 1, take back today. Have you ever noticed that the people who have nothing to do usually want to spend their time with you? Poet Carl Sandburg said, "Time is the most valuable coin in your life. You and you alone will determine how that coin will be spent. Be careful that you do not let other people spend it for you. Your greatest possession is the 24 hours you have directly ahead of you. How will you spend it? Will you give in to pressure or focus on priorities? Will you allow pointless emails, unimportant tasks, telemarketers, interruptions, and other distractions consume your day?" Well, let me begin by answering these questions. And if you hear, if you hear a cock crow in the background, do not worry. I live in a place where we have a lot of these chickens and roosters. So you'll keep hearing this. Enjoy it. Consider it background music. How will you spend it? That's the question. If time is the currency. So if time is a coin, or like a valuable coin or a currency, how will I spend it? I think I would like to spend every second, every minute of my life doing something that's productive, that's something that is very important, something that I can learn. Usually I give in to the pressure and lose focus on priority. That's happened to me many times. It's happened quite often. And giving into pointless emails, notifications of Facebook, status likes, different things have always been there. So I'm trying to what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to focus. And the reason I'm reading this book is to create that focus, to create a habit, So hopefully it works. Let's see. Let's continue. Or will you take complete responsibility for how you spend your time? Take control of the things you can and make today yours. If you don't decide how your day will be spent, someone else will. Ask yourself 3 questions. No daily dozen issue has added more to my success than the principle of priorities. When I discovered that I needed to change my approach to my day and my career, I started by asking myself three critical questions. Number one, what is required of me? Any realistic assessment of priorities in any area of my life must start with a realistic assessment of what a person must do. For you to be a good spouse or parent, what is required of you? To satisfy your employer, what must you do? If you lead others, then the question should be, what must you personally do that cannot be delegated to anyone else? When ordering priorities, always start with the requirement question and give it careful thought before moving on to the next question. The next question is, what gives me the greatest return? As you progress in your career, you begin to discover that some activities yield a much higher return for the effort than others do. Anyone who hasn't discovered that probably isn't progressing in his career or her career. The next place to focus your attention is on those high return activities. Number 3, what gives me the greatest reward? If you do only what you must and what is effective, you will be highly productive, but you may not be content. Or content. I think it's also important to consider what gives you personal satisfaction. However, I find that some people want to start with the reward question and go no further than that. No one can be successful who doesn't possess the discipline to take care of the first two areas before adding the third. Philosopher William James said, "The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook." If you bring your priorities into focus by answering those three questions, you will have a much better idea of what you should overlook. The next section, stay in your strength zone. People don't pay for average. People don't go looking for a mediocre restaurant and middling movie when they go out at night. Employers don't award the contract to the salesman known as Mr. Average. Nobody says, let's give the contract to the company that will do a merely adequate job. It was a great day in my church when I stopped counseling people and stopped getting bogged down in administrative details. But finding my strength zone took some time and exploration. If you don't already have a good handle on your strengths, then you may want to explore some of these suggestions. They are based on what I do to find mine. Number 1, trial and error. Nothing teaches you more than your successes and your failures. Anytime something seems to be all trial and you make a lot of mistakes, it's probably time to move on. But you've got to take the risk of failing to find your successes. Number 2, the counsel of others. Asking others to evaluate your effectiveness is not always fun, but it is always helpful. Be sure to choose people who don't have an agenda other than to help you. Number 3, personality tests. Evaluations such as DISC, Lawrence Latour's personality profile, and Myers-Briggs can be very helpful. They will help you to clarify some of your natural inclinations and help to reveal some strengths and weaknesses you aren't aware of. Number 4, personal experience. You really get a feel for how well you do something by doing it repeatedly. Repeatedly. Just remember this. Experience isn't always the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. British Prime Minister William Gladstone said, "He is a wise man who wastes no energy on pursuits for which he is not fitted. And he is wiser still, who from among the things he can do well, chooses and resolutely follows the best." The more you stay in your strength zone, the greater your productivity and greater your ability to reach your potential. Managing the discipline of priorities, the next section. One of the things I noticed very quickly in making my priorities decision was that priorities shift very easily. For that reason, they must be continually evaluated and guarded. My reminder to manage the discipline of priorities is this. Every day I will live my life according to my priorities. What does that mean? Five things. Number one, evaluate priorities daily. A man went to the Super Bowl and climbed to the top row in the end zone section of the stadium to reach his seat. After the game started, he spotted an empty seat on the 50-yard line. After working his way down to it, he asked the man in the next seat, "Excuse me, but is anyone sitting here?" "No," replied the man. "Actually, the seat belongs to me. I was supposed to come with my wife, but she died." This is the first Super Bowl we haven't been to together since we got married in 1967. That's very sad. But still, couldn't you find anyone else? To take that seat? A relative or close friend? "No," replied the man. "They're all at the funeral." Priorities don't stay put. You have to revisit them every day. Why? Because conditions continually change. So do methods of getting things done. Your values, once defined, are going to be steady. You will be able to rely on them, but how you carry them out needs to be flexible. Now, what I remember from this is, process is the man and man is the process. Whatever we do, whatever we make, a habit of in terms of process of our life is what we are going to actually give ourselves into. If I give myself into reading of the Bible or starting my day with a spiritual inclination, that's a process I'm going to give myself into on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And if I don't do it, I'll feel out of it. I'll feel out of place. And the same way, if I begin my day by looking at a mobile phone, looking at Facebook or different apps or whatever comes first in the day, that's something I'm going to give into for the rest of my life, and maybe for the rest of the day till I decide to see that that's not the correct priority. So that's very important. The anecdote was actually a very funny way to show that sometimes we have the wrong priorities in place. I think he should have been at the funeral, but he's at the Super Bowl game at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, think about it. Number two, plan your time carefully. According to a survey taken by Daytimers Incorporated, only 1/3 of American workers plan their daily schedules, and only 9% follow through and complete what they planned. If you want to be effective, you must be able to make the transition to planning. I plan my calendar 40 days at a time, but when I get ready to approach a day, I have the whole thing laid out, hour by hour. It's a rare day that I get up in the morning wondering what I will be doing that day, even when I'm on vacation. Number three, follow your plan. I don't mean to insult your intelligence by suggesting that you follow your plan, but it needs to be said. According to time management expert Alec McKinsey, surveys show that most executives don't get to their most important tasks until mid-afternoon. Why? Most finished off low priority tasks, so that they could have a sense of accomplishment. German novelist Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "Things that matter most must never be at the mercy of things that matter least." If you prioritize your life and plan your day but don't follow through, your results will be the same as those of someone who didn't prioritize at all. Let me read that again. If you prioritize your life and plan your day but don't follow through, your results will be the same as those of someone who didn't prioritize at all. Good point. Number four, delegate whenever possible. I've observed that most people fall into one or two categories when it comes to delegation. They are either clingers or dumpers. Clingers refuse to let go of anything they think is important, whether they are the best person to do it or not. Their goal is perfection. Dumpers are quick to get rid of tasks, yet give little thought of how successful their delegation efforts will be. Their goal is to get things off their desk. How do you find the right standard for delegation? When is it right to hand something off, and when is it right to hold on to it? Here's the guideline I use. If someone else can do a task I'm doing 80% as well as I do, then I hand it off. That's pretty darn good. And if I do a good job of motivating, encouraging, and rewarding them, then they will only get better. I've handed off responsibilities using that standard. And after a while, the person who's taken on the job has gone on to do it much better than I could. When that happens, it's very rewarding. Today, I'm surrounded by people on my team who do things much better than I can. They make up the difference in my weak areas, and they exceed my expectations in others. They lift me to a level higher than I could ever attain myself, and they allow me to live out my priorities. The advice of management expert Peter Drucker is good. No executive has ever suffered because his subordinates were strong and effective. Fantastic. That's a fantastic quote. No executive has ever suffered because his subordinates were strong and effective. I wish many leaders would get this quite clearly, because many times I've seen leaders are very insecure about just handing it over to subordinates who are strong and effective in what they're doing. They're doing it much better, but the problem is that they have not been given the opportunity or the responsibility to take it up. So they remain stunted in their growth and where they are. Point number 5, invest in the right people daily. There's one more area I want to address in the area of priorities, and that's the need to prioritize how we spend time with people. My friend Waylon Moore has observed that often we spend priority time with problem people when we should be spending it with potential people. I think that's true. How do you decide whom to spend time with? Certainly, you want to treat everyone with respect and try to have a good, positive relationship with everyone. But you should not spend time with everyone equally. Here's what I use to evaluate where to invest my time. Value to the team, natural ability, responsibility, timing, potential, mentoring fit. The time you spend with others can be a great investment. Choose whom you will invest in, and then add value to them on a consistent basis. You will never regret it. Your priority decisions today. Where do you stand when it comes to priorities today? Well, I think I started off with a good priority of, praying and to beginning my day thinking about or planning about the things I'm going to do today. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Have I made the decision to determine and act on important priorities daily? Yes, today I have. If so, when did I make that decision? Right after I woke up. Started planning, started working on the priorities that I have to work upon. And I've been doing so ever since the morning without wasting any time. What exactly did I decide? I decided first I will go back to the things I used to do, which were very productive. Number 1, and that is prayer, reading of the Bible, and then reading a few books that I had kept in mind to read. And those are my personal books, personal meditations that I have taken up, and I wanted to do them. And thirdly, I decided to follow up and try to put myself on track again on the courses that I enrolled, specifically courses that are related to the market, to the job market at the moment. So I decided to pick off those courses which I can finish off and put them in the list of priorities. So that helped. Your priorities discipline every day. Based on the decision you made concerning priorities, what is the one discipline you must practice today and every day in order to be successful? Number 1, consistency. I feel even if there's a flood, an earthquake, or whatever happens, consistency is key. One of the things I really want to do is I want to finish this what I started. I've never done that. I start something and I fail to finish what I start. But this time, I would like to finish it. Well, that's it for today. I hope it was an encouragement and blessing to you. I hope that you read a book. I hope that you start something to encourage someone else. Thank you so much for joining in, and see you tomorrow. God bless.